Hello and welcome to the Selfish Podcast. Today's guest, Chris, is a beautiful soul that I met online, and I'm really intrigued. I know very little about him, but I'm very intrigued to get to know him and hear more of his life and his story. So, welcome, Chris. Where in the world are you, and what time of day is it?
Thank you for having me. Hey, I am currently in Brisbane, so Australia, and it's currently 10 past
Oh,
p.m.
nice. Yeah. I love just to know where people are because it's so beautiful to be able to connect in this instance so easily.
Yeah, man, it's amazing. No, it's good over here.
Oh, nice. So I want to get to know you on a deeper level and get to know a bit more about your life. And I really love to hear people's childhood. So can you paint me a picture of what your childhood was like up to 10 years old?
Oh man, that's a hard one for me as well. Well, it's not a hard one, but I was born in Congo, so
Hmm.
Democratic Republic of Congo. That's center of Africa.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, so I was born there back in '94. But unfortunately, as most African countries are consumed by war, so I left Congo, fled from Congo with my parents when back in 1996. So when I was about 2 years old, we fled, I guess by foot, whatever you can get your hands on, and just leg it. And that was it. So ran away from Congo when I was 2 years old. And there from 2 years old till about 11 is when we moved to Australia. So from 2 to 11, we lived in refugee camps. And that was about it. Yeah, that was my life story.
Okay.
So left Congo. Look, I'll fill you in with what I know or what I think I know.
Mhm.
So I think we lived in Tanzania refugee camp for a bit, moved a bit from Tanzania, made our way all the way down south to Zimbabwe, where I spent most of my childhood till we came to Australia.
Okay. And so up to about 11, you was still in refugee camps.
Yeah.
What what was life like then? How did you do, for example, school and education? What was that process?
Yeah, so a refugee camp. The way it works is obviously me being a kid, I only knew the minimum, but all I know is we were educated. We had school, but obviously we were very limited on what we could do, what we could. I guess in terms of independence, is very restricted because obviously it wasn't our country, and we're there to be helped, essentially. So we're treated differently, but obviously, it was safer than where we came from originally. So it was a blessing to be there regardless. So obviously still had primary school, did school. So we were given, and I believe we were given food once a month. So our UNHCR, which stands for United Nations High Commissions for Refugee, and I guess it's a department of UN which just looks after refugees in general. So they come out with trucks of food and they'll give out to families. And that I believe, if I'm not wrong, again, I was young, and that comes out once a month, and that gives out food to different families within the refugee camp. And
Yeah.
that's how you were fed.
Okay, yeah, no, nice, really interesting. And so in that time, do you remember because obviously it's a very different life, but it's the only life you would have known. But
Yeah.
do you remember your first sort of goal or ambition or something you just wanted to be or do with your life?
Oof. I've always, since I was young, I've always appreciated the human body. And also, I guess, in terms of the biology of the human body itself. So in my mind, I've always wanted to have the idea of being a doctor. That's always been since day one. It was either, a doctor has always been my mind. I don't know why. Just I guess the heart of knowing how, seeing the lifestyle we lived in, and me just wanting to help people. And I think I was very interested in the human body, and I felt, the doctor is where I want to be at.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. Like you said, that service and wanting to actually help people, and you again saw a lot of
Exactly.
people that were being helped since at the start of your life.
Yeah. So it's always been just wanting to help people because obviously we were being helped from when I was 2, I guess, till,
Yeah.
till I was 11. Yeah. So I just thought, you know what? If someone's nice to me, I better, give the same service to someone else if I can. And that was it. Yeah.
And from what you remember of that time, how was your parents? What was your life like with your parents? Did they work or how was
No, so
that?
we weren't allowed to work.
Hmm.
In terms of going out and looking for jobs, I don't think we could. Again, I was young. I didn't really know much about it, but we were in refugee camp, which was far away. It was very distant from the main city. I think it was about maybe 10 hours drive. Again, no one had cars. We were just living our lifestyle there. You could do little projects within the refugee camp, but that's about it in terms of actually working or going out looking for jobs. It wasn't really. I don't think it was a place where we could do that. I don't think. Yeah. So, but my mom and dad did what they could do. My mom had started gardening, and I guess agriculture, and because dad had a degree in agriculture and all that, so he understood how to obviously garden and look after crops properly. So we did that within refugee, and obviously that grew and had chicken run and little farm happening. So that was sort of like sustaining in terms, when you're given food for 30 days, sometimes it finishes early, sometimes it doesn't, and you gotta have backup. And that was yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. What was your sort of friends and friendships? Was there lots of other kids? Was it only other refugees then you're surrounded with in the camp?
Yes, 100%. So we used to walk from the refugee camp to the school. I'm talking in Zimbabwe, which is the latest refugee camp where we lived, and that's the most memory that I have. So we walked about 2K roughly from the refugee camp to the school, and I guess that school was both mixture of refugees, mostly refugees, but there was also some indigenous as well lives in that area. And it came to that school. So I made some friends with them. But then again, at the end of school, everyone went down ways. After school, everyone went down ways. People went back, and us refugees went back to refugee camp. And so I guess most of my friends, all my friends were refugees as well, because we were in the same camp.
Okay. No, it may be something to do with that, or it may be something totally different. But what comes to mind when I say what was your earliest struggle in life? And this can be like teens or, like I said, pre-10. What comes to mind first?
My earliest, I think it's maybe the language barrier. I think living in Zimbabwe, where we learned their language, and obviously, and I speak Swahili at home. So coming to Australia at 11 years old, and having to adapt to learn Australian culture, Australian language, obviously being English, and also try and navigate through starting school in a completely different country, different environment, different culture. So that was the hard part about it. But, thank God that my parents, taught me the basic socializing skills, and obviously me being loving sports, it was kind of an easy way to sort of adapt to making friends. So thank God for that. But I think the hardest part was, adapting the culture, changing the culture, learning the language, and obviously not speaking English. The best I could say was hello. So I had to sort of like learn my way, navigating through grade 6 and grade 7, how Australia works. Also while preparing myself for the high school and also learning English itself. So that was pretty difficult, but make the right connections, and good friends, and you pick it up pretty quick, I guess.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. And so how was that? Like, how was your teens then with that period of, like you said, the complete culture shift, and how you felt your life was compared to what it was of your memory sort of thing at that time? How did it feel like to be around other kids that haven't had that same sort of life experience?
It was different. For me, I didn't really so much focus on my past. I think I was given an opportunity to come to Australia by the UN. I guess Australian government gave us an opportunity to start a new life. So my main focus, I guess, changed or shifted from so much of focusing on what was to where I need to be. So I started focusing on more of, I need to learn this, that. And at the same time, while doing this, and just adapt to the culture. At the same time, my parents also told me to never forget, obviously, my culture or where I'm from, which was very important, because obviously those things is what makes me. And then so in saying that, it was very important for me to continue to not forget who I was or where I came from. At the same time, also learning and adapting and learning all these new ways of how Australia lives, because only then is when I really can sort of understand where I'm at, and adapt to those struggles that will come with me being a teenager. And obviously, and finding a good support system in terms of, if I need help in terms of languages, who can I go to? If I need help in terms of, when I reach that age where I can get a job, who do I go to? How do I do that? And so it's just finding that balance where I was able to adapt and still learn, but not get so much stuck off where I was, but start focusing on, where do I need to be and just focus on that. Take little baby steps.
Yeah, nice. And while you're speaking perfect English now, how long did that take you to actually pick up the language so fluidly?
Oh man, years of training, I guess,
What would you do to train? Was it classes? Was you doing lots of home stuff, writing down words? How did you sort of do it?
For me, it was more, like I said before, I was very sporty. So I played a lot of sports. So me, there's so much you can learn theory-wise, but for me, it was more practical. So me spending more time out. Look, it was the best way for me to learn. For me being out playing football, soccer, and just always just talking to the guys on the field, I found it. It was easy for me to pick up English, pick up words. And at the same time, I got into doing mountain bike riding with some mates from school. So just spending time with people who spoke fluent English. And I guess, the more I heard it, the more I picked up different accents, the more I picked up different languages, different words, and slowly adapted and learned and, kept, it was pretty good. So I guess just surrounding myself with people who spoke good English, and my brain just grasped and then just hold on to it, and yeah.
Yeah, no, I see a lot as I move around and go to different places where there's different languages, and especially now, so many people are learning English at an early age. But I have a lot of the children translate for the parents because the parents never got to learn the language or are still like just know the basic phrases. And the kids can speak fluently already. How's your parents with English, and who learned English first, you or your parents? Or did they already know?
Definitely us. And I think all the kids speak fluent English with almost close to no accent or African accent. But mom and dad, they still got a thick accent, and sometimes some words don't really understand. They don't really understand some of the words. So we'll step in and help them out and stuff. Just because obviously for us, we had more mates we were always out doing things around, and we're still in school and we're young, and I guess our brain was still developing as well. Let's not forget that. So it was easy for us to pick up. So in terms of our parents, we definitely picked up English faster than them. And yeah.
And how are your parents now with settling in Australia? They're satisfied with their sort of what happened in their life with the move? Is there cravings to ever go back to Zimbabwe?
Well, Zimbabwe, because technically Zimbabwe is not our country. Like, even though we grew up in Zimbabwe, it's still not home. Technically Congo, where I was born, is where home is. Where there's, I don't know how much of peace there's in Congo. So, as much as we'd love to go, well, in sense they'd love to go back and, live in your own country. In terms of safety, how safe is it to have that dream and go back to it is a real question. So, they're like, at the end of the day, they're loving where they're at the moment, because obviously everyone's safe. Kids can have goals and, have goals and actually have a future here, a safer future. And they can grow. So instead of, being stuck, if things works out for the best, that Congo is back in peace and we can go back and this and that, I wouldn't mind going back to either visit or whatever. But, I've lived in Australia most of my life than I lived in Africa. But at the end of the day, home is still home. That's that.
Yeah, like the Congo's always fascinated me because it's such a different place to pretty much everywhere is different, but there's just something unique about it and the position of it. But as far as I've known, it's always been sort of like the one, like top. I don't know if it's in the top 10, top 5, like don't go areas in the world.
Yeah, it's a beautiful country. Everything from mountains to the forest to the animals, the culture, everything, the music, man, and even the food. Everything about Congo. Look, Africa itself, it's the same, but Congo is just amazing and it's beautiful. And I'm not just being biased because it's my country, but it's an amazing place. But at the same time, the beauty also attracts the con of it, which is the war. Everyone wants what's in or what's underground, which is all the minerals, and Congo at this point still doesn't have peace because of that. But
I've got 2 questions I'm interested in. Just the first one came when you mentioned the food. What's a dish from the Congo? What's like a traditional dish? What would that be?
I'll be lying to you if I told you all the dishes or if I told that I was master chef. So I won't go. I
But
won't
do you have a
cross that
favorite?
border.
There's one that you just
But
remember, like a.
but I know. So every in African every country in Africa share a similar meal, but everyone calls it different. So in Zimbabwe, where I sort of grew up, we call it sadza. Sadza, sadza. Other parts of Africa, some call it fufu, and just it's almost like a like it's made out of it could be maize flour, so maize being ground down, and the flour from that is made into like a mashed potato, almost similar, and you can eat that with either could be veggies, or you could eat that with steak, however you want. So that's one of the main dishes. And then again, you go to different parts of Congo, and everyone eats like something different. But that main one is what most people know and eat.
Okay, what do you say? Sadza.
Sadza.
Is that similar then? Because I had some very close people to me that were Nigerian, and I'd have sometimes their sort of like food, and mum would make it look like dough balls, but I wasn't sure what the flour, what the thing was you used, and you sort of all rip at it like a big ball, and you have that with the sort of stew or the meat.
That's correct. That's it. Yeah,
because I wasn't sure if it was yaka or what. I wasn't actually sure.
Yeah,
but
everyone calls it different. Everyone in Africa calls it different.
Okay, interesting. And the other question I want to know is like, so what's the, to your sort of knowledge, what's the sort of main mineral sort of, what's in the Congo that people are so thirsty for? Is it oil, like you said, or is it the minerals or gems?
It's more of the minerals and I think it's more of the minerals. Everything from parts that make iPhones to silver itself. For example, a perfect movie is Blood Diamond. For example, that movie. That's a classic example of what happens and how that sort of stuff is wanted a lot, to the point where there's no peace in the country itself, because everyone around it wants what's in it, and they'll do anything for it. So it's everything from from minerals to metal itself, because I know iPhone's got parts of it that's picked up in Congo, and so.
Yeah, no, I'm interested because I remember Blood Diamond. It's a impactful film and very interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
So what age was you say when you watched that, and like how did that feel to see a film like that and see that's like a country that your parents had to leave because of sort of that stuff is happening?
Oh man, I think I watched it when I was I watched it when when did it come out? I think I was maybe grade 9, which means I was maybe 14 or 15. But I watched. I know the movie itself came out back in 2006. But I think I watched it much later because obviously the violent. Wasn't so allowed to watch that much violent. But so when I watched it, it was kind of like, this is the stuff that I know obviously from the talk that I've had with my parents and seeing what is happening. It was sad because I know most people, just like that movie itself shows, some of the kids weren't as lucky as I am right now. Some of the kids or some of the families weren't as lucky as my family. Some of the families lost their lives in the Congo. So it was quite man, that could have been you, that could have been your family. But thank God that I'm alive and I was able to escape all that, regardless of all the lifestyle that I went through in refugee camp. It's still a lot better than being one of those kids in those movies in Blood Diamond, for example. That's just a perfect example of what my life could have been like compared to how it is. So man, look, the movies like that hit home. Because you look at yourself and you're like, there is nothing more special about me than that kid, the same kid, probably maybe going to the same school, but just the luck, or just thank God that my parents managed to get us out quicker, and but then in saying that, just because we escaped, I don't know. I know I lost a lot of family members in that time of escape who I don't know to this day if they're alive or not, And this has been since 96. So
No, yeah, it's really interesting. What do you think if you was to now sort of meet yourself in them first years when you came over, like between 11 and 13, what do you think your younger self would like think of you now? What would they say about you?
So if my 11th-year-old me met me now, what would they say?
Yeah.
Don't forget where you come from. Because the journey that I went through is what made me me. And I think that's very important for me to help with my development, because obviously, those struggles that I faced, I learned a lot from that, and they shaped who I am as a person today. And I appreciate life, and I appreciate little things, because other people weren't as lucky as I am. So
yeah, it sounds like
definitely don't forget where you come from.
Yeah, and it's definitely going to shape your life, just having that difference and that change. So
100%.
The last sort of, I think it's nearly been 2 years or maybe more than 2 years now, but the world's been in a sort of united chaos in different ways. How has the last 2 years been for you? How's your life, like externally and internally, been?
Well, Mr. COVID, he was with us in the last 2 years. So my life in the last 2 years, it's funny because I decided to change careers or pick up a new career just as COVID started. So that was difficult because I was living in a comfortable position where an income was consistent, and I was pretty happy with it, to a career where, it requires a lot more attention, a lot more work to get income coming. So that switch and the timing of it was very difficult, because my career now really relies on me interacting with people, talking to people, being in people's faces. Whereas with the COVID situation, it means, you need to distance, isolate, stay away from people. That was the new mentality. So it's been very, very difficult, adjusting and changing and trying to meet, obviously when you've got bills to pay and all that. But in saying that, man, I'm always just counting my blessings, because I am alive and I am still living. As difficult as it may be, I'm not quitting. I'm still going, because like the saying say, at the end of every tunnel there's a light. So even though it's been a very hard season for me in the middle of this changing careers through COVID, it's still okay, because if I keep working hard right now, at the end of it there'll be a light, and all my hard work will pay off. Yeah,
that makes sense. And so what's your career now, and what caused the shift in careers?
So I remember at the start I said that when I was a kid, I've always wanted to be a doctor. That was me. So when I left high school, I started chasing my dream job, which was to be a doctor. But actually, I thought I took a different path and actually started chasing being a paramedic, ambulance. Seems similar, I guess, in the health industry. So I started university doing a dual degree, a double degree in paramedic and nursing. So long story short, my first semester of my paramedic / nursing, I got injured in a massive car accident. Ended up spending, almost 2 weeks in a coma and about 4 or 5 months in a hospital and 3 years of rehab. So it was pretty hectic. So which meant at the end of my rehab, of the 3 years of rehab, the doctors were pretty much like, look, I'm sorry, Chris, you've lost a chance of being a paramedic. So I had to say goodbye to essentially my career or my dream job of where I've always wanted to be as a doctor or as a as a helper. But it's okay, you know. I think I just still, like I said before, I always count my blessings, which is I'm alive, and not so much of, you know, yeah, I've lost my chances of chasing my career, but I am alive and I could speak. Whereas there's people who are in the similar situation as me who weren't as lucky as I was. So again, counting my blessings, and I continue to do that, which is okay. But you know, so at the end of that, ended my paramedic career before I even started it. Started working as a manager at one of the stores here, which was really good. Kept going well, and now recently worked for about, I don't know, 13 years there, a couple of years or half a decade or 5 years as a manager, which is fun and, you know, paid well. And I still needed a career, so I ended up switching from being a manager to real estate, which is what I do now. So selling property. So back to helping people, I guess in a different way. Instead of helping them with their health, is just helping them find homes. I guess I need to help people, and I guess I gotta go back to that. So that's my new career now. What I'm trying to start up is real estate, helping people with career, with properties.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting, and I can sort of see how it relates so much to your childhood. Like you said, especially going from doctor to paramedic, like you wanted to be, there must have been an urge to want to be on the front lines, like to serve whoever needs as soon as possible. So I
Yeah,
think coming
that's
from
me.
somewhere that's chaos, it's like, that's really interesting. And then, like you say, a manager position where it sounds like it's just not that same service.
It's different. It's different.
Sorry, I just literally fell off my chair.
You all right?
Yeah, I don't even. I'm sitting outside. Yeah, I'm sitting outside, and it literally just collapsed.
Oh. You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
you got too comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, and so he was just talking about being a paramedic, and then like the manager, and the home thing. Like, do you get like a large sense of fulfillment in, like you said, because you had to find a new home for your start of your life, but like not just a house, a whole country, you know, a whole new culture.
Yeah.
So yeah, how did you find that? Like finding people's homes. How did you find that like fulfilling? Do you find it in that sense fulfilling?
Helping people with finding their homes. In my new career you're talking about now as a real estate agent. Yeah. Now, dude, it's amazing. I think, especially now at the moment, the housing market in Queensland, where I am, it's quite demanding. So when you help someone, or when you have a family, and you see that you can see the smile of a kid's face when they're like, "This is our new home. Oh, thanks, mommy or daddy," and you can just see the happiness that, you know, they've been struggling trying to find a house, but now they've got a house, and you can see the happiness in the family and the joy. And, you know, when they pop the champagne, congratulating, put a stick on that soul sticker on a sign because they've just found a new home, or when they get the keys to the new house, to the joy that brings them, it's unexplainable. It's just beautiful to see someone or see a family find a new place, since there's so much competition in Queensland right now, when it comes to housing market. So, you know, it's not the same as, you know, giving someone CPR on the side of the road from a car accident and everything else, but it's just still helping someone in a different way. And it's essentially just because I couldn't continue my path as a paramedic, in helping people, you know, who in the worst health case scenarios, but I'm glad I can still put a smile on someone's face as they found as they found a house, you know, or their new home, especially in a market like we are right now, you know.
Yeah, no, definitely nice, and I can really hear the passion in your voice towards it. And I think that's what's important. It's like, as long as you've got passion, everyone has to have a unique service. So there's no sort of, to me, there's no superior service or not. It's like there's multiple different things that are needed in life. So I think everyone has a passion towards something.
Yeah, and absolutely, man. I think it's important that, you know, I started this thing a little while ago where I picked up from I think I picked up on Instagram somewhere. Someone posted something that was like, you help someone, right? And instead of them giving it back to you, you ask them to pass it on. It's incredible because, you know, at the end of the day, if everyone did that, or if everyone helped someone else, imagine what world we'll be in right now. Like if everyone just had a little bit of the 1% to help someone else, it would just be beautiful. The plan would be amazing, and
Yeah.
and I guess if I can do my part in helping someone, and I do that, and also do SES, which is something that's completely different as well. But it's just, if I can help someone, why not?
So yeah. So what's SES?
So SES stands for State Emergency Services. It's an organization. It's like a branch of the fire service in Australia. So it's all volunteer. No, we don't get paid or anything. It's just all volunteer. But when there's an emergency, example, when there's fires, floods, hurricane, whatever, you name it, whatever emergency that you can think of, even when people are missing, we get called out and we go searching for them, or we go help out, searching missing people. When there's big fires, we go help the fire department to put out fires. We're here to help wherever we can help in terms of emergency.
Nice.
So whether it's fire,
so you still managed to implement that side of still being of sort of that frontline service.
In a way, I guess it's an addiction. It's an obsession.
Yeah, or like you say, it's just a unique cause, like, because that's again very needed.
Yeah,
and to do it voluntarily, like you said, it has to be fueled by passion, because you're just not going to do it if you haven't got that fuel there to do it. So no, that's really nice to hear, man.
It is beautiful, man. I think everyone, if they can, why not? Help someone else, and it doesn't cost a lot to help someone.
No, it's actually on Instagram. I saw someone the other week who's like they was on like a reality show, and there's a really nice guy, but they suddenly built like a massive online following like really quick because they done this show.
Yeah,
and people are sending him gifts all the time, and he just like was sent a message, like a story, just saying like, if you're thinking of sending me something, he goes, why not just give the person in the till in front of you, buy their £5 shopping, or do something, give someone, he's like, pay it forward to someone else, not just because you've seen my face now you're sending me stuff. And it's just like them, just small acts of kindness can go such a long way.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so what have you found in the last 2 years? What have you found helped you keep balanced? Is there any practices or anything you do? Like you said, you're interested in the body and health and stuff. Is there anything you do that's helped you keep some balance or brought more balance into your life?
So do you want to repeat that question again? Sorry, bro. It's kind of cut out a bit.
Okay, yeah. So in the last 2 years, everyone's been under like some form of pressure and a change in situation, and their balance can be knocked. So if you found any techniques or any practice or anything that you do that has helped bring you balance during any sort of unbalanced period in this last couple of years?
Yeah, man, absolutely. I'm a man of faith. So I believe in Christ, in God. So that obviously making sure that I keep my faith up, praying and believing that, you know what, we're not gonna get stuck here. This is a period, and God's got us. And at the same time, physically, everyone needs to find their outlet. What can you do in terms of when you're feeling stressed? What can you do on that instant that's gonna help you? Breathe in and breathe out, or that's going to help you relax, to bring your heart rate down. So for me, I've got a few things where, I love going for drives. I love just jumping in the car and go for drives, or I appreciate a good scenery. So it could be, I could drive to a lookout and just enjoy a good, amazing view, and just take a minute to breathe in and breathe out. And just remember, you know what, we do live on an earth that's full of, you just don't know what's going to happen, but it's okay to just, appreciate your blessings and not focus on what's happening. Because all the negativity will still be there. But, if you just keep your inner peace and just, for me, I focus my eyes on God, and I know I'll be all right.
Oh, nice. And is the faith side something that your parents brought with them? Where did faith come into your life?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was raised I was born and raised in a Christian family. But it wasn't until I was, I made my decision throughout high school that, this is what I want to continue. But it wasn't until that car accident that happened to me back in 2012, where in my first semester of university, when that happened, and seeing where I could have been and how I survived, I knew for a fact that was a miracle, and that was that wasn't just a survival. That was God was in the midst of my survival, and I'm alive today because of that. and that really strengthened my faith. And I made a decision from there on that, you know what, me and my family are gonna serve God, just because I know He's got me from Congo, where I could have been one of those kids, like in those kids in Blood Diamond, to surviving through refugee camps and everything that came with it, all the pros and the cons, or I guess, all the cons with it. And again, learning English and surviving high school and, going through university or starting university as I finished high school and being impacted in this massive car accident where I should have died, but I'm alive today. And so that just strengthened my core faith and be like, you know what, God is looking out for me. And that gave me more concrete, I guess, to my foundations that, you know what, He's there, He's looking out for me, and He's there for everyone. And yeah, that's where my foundation of faith is.
Yeah, and you feel that's kept you in a better state and balance in the last 2 years through that. Is there any practices? Do you pray daily? Do you do any actual ritual faith practices?
I do pray. I'd lie if I said that I prayed every single day. I'd be lying to you. So, but I do pray. I do pray. I do read my Bible every now and then. And I do different plans to just, keep my faith and keep learning more about God, keep learning more. Because there is a lot to learn about God, and I'm just forever still learning about it. And look, I'm young in faith, and I'm still learning. And that's on that. I'm on a journey. I'm on a path to discover more about who God is. And Yeah, no,
I find faith and just life in general so fascinating. And when I was younger, I was much more judgmental towards different faiths, because I was brought up Christian, but then I sort of had lots of like early traumas in my life, and it made me sort of lose that faith. And then as I got older, I started like watching loads of stuff to do with debates between religious people and science people and all these things, and where they ridiculed religious and faith and people of belief. And it put me in that camp of like judgment, where I wasn't seeing it as a big picture. I was just seeing it as the like literal sense of like people, the ridiculous parts that people can play in anything. So it really closed me off to that area, and faith didn't re-enter my life till the last like few years. Now I can happily say I'm like a man of faith, and I have a lot of faith, and I live in faith. But before faith was a taboo word for me. It was like I cannot say that word.
It's funny because like it's always crazy because I always get these. It's funny, and you hear the same thing over and over again when people someone who's trying to challenge a faithful person, and I always get this all the time. It's like, oh well, if God is so amazing, how come He hasn't stopped all these wars? Especially, how come He didn't stop the war in Congo? How come you had to go through what you had to go through? How come you didn't stop your accident from happening? And I'm always going answering back to it. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to start a religious debate with you. I'm just trying to, trying things that I've faced through it. And I'll answer them. Well, then, if you want God to stop the wars, right, essentially take over and control you, then how far do you want Him to control? Because sometimes what you think is negative, just like the war. So do you want Him to stop all your thinking as well? At one point, do you want Him to take over your freedom of speech or your thoughts? Because it's still negative to Him. It's still sin. So if He's gonna stop the war, does that mean He's gonna stop the way you think as well? Then do you have free will then, or have you lost your free will? Yeah. And then I always get those people get into arguments about, oh, God is good. I'm like, man, let's not focus on, let's just do good. Let's do good to people. Let's help each other, and let's just live God where God is. Love people, love your neighbor, and love God. Let's just focus on that. Let's not focus on the do's and don'ts. And and
that was one of my, like, I don't know if you've seen it. I have a YouTube channel where I just share my thoughts and my things. And someone actually asked me to do a longer video just talking about faith. But my last, one of my last videos this week was, is life fair? Because this is a question I thought about a lot in my life. And I thought I'd put it on Instagram as like a little vote. Is life fair? And one of my last podcast guests, they actually answered on the story saying no. So we was talking about it, and is life fair? Then I made a video on it. And like I said, I think it's that perception, and the people that say, oh, this shouldn't exist. If God exists, this wouldn't exist. Like, it's really easy to focus on all the things that are suffering in the world and make it look like life is unfair. But to me, fairness is a balance. And when you look at life as a whole, not just humans species in reality, but like the earth, the trees, nature, the jungle, and there's an amazing harmony and balance there in abundance. And I find some people can be fixated in the faith part of me, and that was like really opening up to witnessing and comprehending and being present on the earth, and actually, realizing we have faith in so many things. But when you lose when you lose faith, you don't realize you still have elements of faith within you. It's now not as intent and it's not as open. But it was a path of my journey that was just life changing, to be in that. And I think it's something I want to talk about a lot more, because I don't associate myself with any religious name or doctrine, but I have faith. I believe in there's a higher intelligence in life, and it's a beautiful thing that we're connected to and we're present with. But I feel there's a lot of people that don't want to belong to them groups, but there's a lot of people out there, it seems now, that are opening, and especially during this time, like you said, in the last couple of years, when you've been hit hard so by life, like a slap around the face from God, sort of thing. There's a little bit of a wake-up call. And I'm noticing this, I think there's a big hunger, and I think a lot of actual faiths coming back. But did you find that as a heart? Because I don't know what it's like in Australia, where I was from in England. There's a mixture of different races and people. So there was like Muslims, Hindus, Christians, and most English people didn't really even associate with any religion anymore. Most of them that just don't do any form of practice towards it. They might just say they were Catholic or Christian, but they didn't even go to church, or the family didn't talk about it. It's just like, oh no, that's what we are. But they don't do anything. Did you? How was it in Australia? Like even now, with your friends, but in school and growing up, how was it there with religion? Is that something that's abundant or not?
Yeah, look, everyone, it's free for all. Like everyone, like it's who I had some Islamic friends at school. Me being a Christian, I had friends who weren't, or who didn't believe in faith. But it wasn't my place to judge anyone in terms of where they were at in terms of faith. But in Australia, it's free for all. It's not stopped. Like you cannot not practice your faith. Everyone to their own. I know we've got is it a mosque? A mosque, Islamic church. So there's one in the area that I know people go to and practice that. I've worked in my previous job where I was a manager. I had Islamic, obviously, employees there as well, and it was good. And I guess obviously at the same time, even you're Christian, and you're not discriminated. Well, look, what I've seen, you're not discriminated. I probably shouldn't say that you're not altogether, because I don't know the whole. I don't know everywhere, but you shouldn't be discriminated by your faith. So that's how from what I've experienced in Australia, that's as much as I've seen.
Nice. And we actually met through a podcast that I'm not sure, are you a regular guest or whether it's your friends, but the Net to Work podcast. So that's where we met on Green Room. Where did that manifest, and why are you one of the guests or are you one of the hosts? How did that podcast with you?
Yeah, so how that started, my cousin, funny story, my cousin lives down on a different state to where I am. So they live down in New South Wales. I live up in Queensland. So he's got a few mates who started the podcast, who were the original founders, and Baraka being the genius guru that he is. He started all together. So my cousin also just like, oh, do you want to join? Second episode, like of first season, they were like, Chris, come join. I was like, yeah, cool, why not? So and then from there on, I've just joined, and I just became one of the hosts as well, since day 2, I guess, if you want to call it.
Yeah.
And that's how that started, all just from like, let's just talk some smack, as boys always do, but actually just dissect some stuff out loud. And that's how that started. And Network is just, it just became that. And that's where we met. We've changed, obviously, third season now. And we've come to meet the new as well.
Yeah, no, because like we were saying right at the beginning of this, it's just such an amazing time to be able to connect and share. And I think that's part of a large service as well. It's just, that's why I'm doing the podcast, like to share people's experiences and lives. The more we we sort of experience through others, the less sort of chaos we can have in our own lives and obstacles, and
100%. Yeah,
also that
absolutely.
inspiration and motivation, to build your momentum and keep your life thriving and active and productive, especially when there's
100%.
been a lot of shutdown in actual communication face to face.
100%, 100%. And it's funny because, for example, the last episode that we did there, we had listeners there who were actually shooting questions, who were actually interested in what we're talking about and dissecting, to the point they were asking questions because they themselves were also experiencing what we're talking about, or have experienced it, and they wanted to know more about it, or how to deal with those different situations. So it's amazing that people around the world can come together and actually just have a general chat about different things, different lifestyles, or different life experiences, and who knows, someone else might benefit from it, or if not, whatever, everyone can just enjoy it.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
I have just a few fun little questions I ask every guest at the end of the episode.
Okay,
but they're just short little ones. And but first, is there anything else that you would like to say? And if you have any contact information that you would like to share, you can drop that in as well.
Anything that I'd love to share? I think the biggest one is, I think, like I said this before earlier, I think everyone should just try this, is help someone. It could be big or small, to help them. And then instead of that person that you just helped, instead of them returning the favor to you, ask them to pass that on. Hashtag pass it on, and then just pass on the positivity or passion. Yeah, good English. Pass on the kindness, because you don't know how far, big or small, you don't know how little kindness can do to someone, whether it's small or big. But let's just pass on the kindness. So hashtag pass it on. Do something kind to someone and ask them to pass it on instead of returning it back to you.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Any contact information you'd like to share?
Contact information. Look, you can find me anywhere on platforms. So you can go Christel. Christel. So it's spelled CHRISTEL, is here. ISHER. You can find me on Instagram on that. And there's also a link to my business on the same page. So if you want to stay in contact, or if you want to reach out for any questions or anything like that, that's where you find me. Christel's here on Instagram.
Net2 podcast, that's
as well.
You can find on Instagram as well as NE2 work, WRK.
That's right.
I'll put all the links in the descriptions as well.
Yeah, NE2 work, all one word. So
nice.
We chop and dissect our thoughts out loud on that as well. So
yeah, no, it's really interesting to be to have jumped on with you guys a couple times and just to hear you all share, and to be in that live moment as well, to be recorded. Like, this is pre-recorded, but the live version as well, it's just really interesting because you're having that conversation in that moment, like we are personally right now.
Yeah,
actually, but other people can join in or listen or contribute, and
all live. Yeah, absolutely. It's incredible because it's like that podcast is all about just being real. It's all raw, it's all real. What you get is what you get. There's nothing else to it. We just talk smack, enjoy our life, and just to share what we're thinking. And so it's a blessing to be able to share that. Yeah,
nice. So these short, fun questions. The first one. Okay. If you had to just choose one, a cat or a dog?
A cat or dog. Dog for days. I don't trust cats. No.
Yeah, nice.
Definitely
dog. And what's your favorite color?
Color?
Yeah.
Represent blue.
Blue.
And
what would you say what sound or noise do you love?
I used to play drums.
Mm-hmm.
I used to play drums, so I appreciate a good drum kit.
Oh, nice. And what sound or noise do you hate?
Hate. Sound that I hate. Maybe a scratching, or like a chalkboard. Yeah.
Okay. And what would you say in this moment? What comes to mind first when I say, what's your greatest fear?
Height.
That's a quick one.
Yeah, no, look, 100%. If you put me at a certain height, I will pee my pants. I do not do with heights.
When did
I'm
you first
tall.
realize you were afraid of heights? What was your? Do
It's
you
funny,
remember?
yeah.
Do you have a certain thing?
Yeah, I was never, because obviously as a kid, I used to do, like I said, I used to do mountain bike riding. Used to do everything from climbing trees to this and that. But I think it's when maybe after hitting maybe 16 is when my hormones kicked in, and I don't know, my height came about it. And then yeah, and as soon as I became tall, bro, my height fear, and like I guess the fear of height just increased. So I don't know, somewhere along the lines of my end of high school, it's like maybe around 16, 17 is when things went downhill for me. But you know, we're good.
Okay,
We're good.
interesting. And what do you love about yourself?
Oh, I think I'd have to say how respectful I am.
Oh,
That's
nice.
probably one thing that I can probably say big thanks to my parents for teaching me the fundamentals of respect. And for me, I respect myself. Because I know how to respect myself, I can easily know how to respect other people. And of course, that comes with, if I know how to treat myself, I'll know how to treat other people. And that's everything from kindness to manner and respect. But I can probably say that, yeah, my greatest quality is respect.
Oh, nice, beautiful.
Yeah.
And what do you love to see in others?
Um, I guess I think people have different goals in life. I think it's that smile on their face when they have achieved their goal, whatever that may be, in whatever walk of life they may be in. Because I know for me personally, when I achieve a certain goal that I have in mind or that I've set out for myself, it's a great joy, and I feel like I've accomplished something. So for me, when I see someone achieve that, that could be anything from career to I don't know, maybe fitness or whatever that may be, it's a joy. So for me to see people do that or achieve greatness in their life or achieve their goals, it's a I get a smile on my face
Oh,
because
nice.
Yeah, it's an
Yeah, like you said,
accomplishment.
you get to see that now in your work as well, because like for a lot of people, it's such a big moment when they
Yeah,
get their home.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
Oh, nice. And
yeah,
lastly, the very last question, what do you
yeah.
love about animals? And this is like pets or animals in the wild, whatever you represent as animals.
Oh, look, my favorite animal would have to be a lion.
Hmm.
The good old Simba,
Hmm.
king of the jungle. And I think is just how what I love with the lion. I think is just the authority. The lion, walks through the jungle with no fear. He knows he is the king of the jungle. And in saying that, and I think we should, and then that just that mentality we should sort of like learn from that. Where life throws different things at us, but it's important for us to just live our life with that fear and just enjoy life. Where things comes at us at a million miles an hour, or good or bad, it's okay. So that trait of a lion walking around as the king of the jungle with no fear, but with authority over whatever he steps on, is what I love about animals. Well, a lion in this.
Yeah, no, nice. Yeah, and I can really
Yeah,
picture it. Like you say, when you see a lion, like there's a certainty about them. There's a confidence and esteem. There's
there
not,
is.
you don't, they
Yeah,
don't look like they're fragile
scared
in
or
their
anything.
just presence,
No,
you know?
there's
Um,
authority, there's power.
Beautiful, man.
Yeah.
It's been really great to chat to you and get to know more of your story. A really, really fascinating life. And thank you so much for being open and sharing and connecting.
Oh, dude, thank you for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to chat to you over your side of the world.
Yeah. No, and
It's been amazing.
I'll be sure to keep an eye out for you next time you're on Green Room. Always just drop me an invite, and if I can jump on or just listen in, I will.
Oh, dude, definitely. We'll definitely keep you up, and I love having you on board, bro. It's an amazing.
No problem.
Yeah.
Man, have a beautiful night. I know it's night time for you, so I don't know. Do you go bed early, or are you an early bird, or do you stay up late?
See, here's the thing. I'm definitely not a morning person. Definitely not a morning person, but at the same time, no, I'm a night owl, so I'm up at late. But what time is it over there?
For me, it's 1 p.m. now.
1 p.m. Okay, so midday.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
Well, enjoy the rest of your night, and yeah, this will be out on every episode goes out on a Sunday.
on a Sunday?
On a Sunday, but I cannot remember now. I don't, because the ASET, I've had to learn lots of time zones, but I'm mainly known European and American now. So
Okay,
there's 8 p.m. GMT and 3 p.m. PST. And that's 8 p.m.
Right,
EST.
okay.
So I think for you,
so you're saying Sunday so it'll be Sunday your time?
I think it's 6 a.m. for you. I think it's 6 a.m. in Australia it comes out. So you might catch it
Monday.
later in the day. Yeah, on the Sunday. Yeah. Or will it be Monday for you?
It will be Monday for us.
It'll be Monday for you, yeah.
Yeah. So, dude, I'll definitely be listening to it. And it's just all on where can I listen to it?
So it's on all podcast platforms. If you just type in The Selfish Podcast, Luke Greenheart, or on any search, it will come up. But I also put the podcast episodes up on YouTube live when they premiere on the Sunday as well.
Perfect.
Because they go up as a premiere, people can join in the conversation. But at the moment, the audience is still building for the podcast, so there hasn't been too much live interaction. But I think it's quite interesting that people can, a bit like the green room itself, people can jump in and exchange and talk to people through there at the same time. Yes, on YouTube and you just type Luke Greenheart on YouTube and you find me straight away, and the podcasts are up on there as well as some other bits.
Perfect, my man. Thank you for letting me in, and thanks for the chat. Have an amazing day.
Thank you too. Have an amazing night.
Stay safe. Thanks, bro.
All right, much love, man. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for being here and listening to the Selfish Podcast. I'm your host, Luke Greenheart, and I appreciate you being here. Don't forget to check out my YouTube channel. Just search Luke Greenheart on YouTube. You'll find me. Check out my website, lukegreenheart.com. Have an amazing day. And stay tuned for more episodes. I'll be interviewing guests on their path of self-development, their path to self, getting to know them in much more intimacy, much more depth, sharing and connecting with all so we can have a much more blissful, joyful and productive life together. All right, much love. Have a great day.